So welcome everyone.
Hi everyone, I'm Mika. I'm also from Argentina. I'm based in Spain. I'm the Digital Community Engagement Officer, and I recently started working with this amazing team. So nice to meet you all here.
Hello everyone, my name is Eunice Obat. I'm joining you from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm the commission assistant. Started last week, so this is my second week. I'm happy to meet you all and looking forward to a good meeting ahead. Thanks.
Really nice to meet you, Eunice. It's the first time I've seen you move in person when you're not a picture. So it's lovely to have you on the core mission team. I'm Mel, I'm from the UK. I'm the lead volunteer for core mission, and I'm presenting with Manu today, although it's Mika and Silvana who make all the magic happen in terms of Campfire.
I'm Joanne Fisher. I'm here in Philadelphia, and I am the lead on the fundraising capacity building team and a member of OBPA.
I'm Sandy Thomas. I'm also here in the United States, and I lead the capacity building team.
Hello, I think we're all introducing ourselves, so I'm going to go ahead too. I'm Mariana. I am the JLS assistant. I just joined on Monday.
Okay, I think we'll make a start. So welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us for the second WAGS Giving Day webinar, Campfire Connecting the Movement. Today we're joined by the WAGS Campfire team, who are going to be giving you a guided tour of the new WAGS digital home, which connects our member organisations, volunteers and young women of the movement. You'll hear about the many opportunities it offers to connect and learn, and what it aims to offer, along with your support, to welcome more young women leaders to the platform in the safest possible way. The Giving Day online series of events is an opportunity for you to get to know the projects within WAGS we're fundraising for this year for the WAGS Giving Day. Campfire is part of our project International Connections and Global Opportunities. And we've now officially launched the Giving Day, which is very exciting. I'll be posting the link to our new platform in the chat box throughout the webinar, so please do check it out and find out about the many different ways that you can support the Giving Day this year. And just a quick reminder that it's taking place on the 15th of June. The theme this year is Donate Today, Girls Lead Tomorrow. And with your help, we want to raise £200,000 to help create more opportunities for the girls and young women of the movement to be the brave, strong leaders the world needs. So just a bit of housekeeping before we start. The webinar will be 1 hour. Please do use the chat box facility on Zoom to ask any questions to our speakers, and we will try and answer those throughout, or if not at the end. Please do keep your microphones on mute, and just a reminder that the webinar will be recorded. And that's everything from me. So now over to our wonderful Campfire team.
So good morning, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It's lovely to see so many familiar and unfamiliar faces. So welcome to you all. We're going to spend some time this morning walking you through various elements of Campfire. We have introduced ourselves already, but we'll do it again for those 2 or 3 who've come in after our initial conversation. So I'm Mel Ford. I'm the lead volunteer for the core mission team. And although I can't directly take any credit for Campfire, they've asked me to come along and talk you through it. So hopefully I can do those ladies proud and really represent the amazing work they're doing. And Manu, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Manuela. I'm Italian, and I live in Belgium. I'm the interim head of core mission, overseeing the leadership of volunteers engagement and Campfire. So that's why I'm here. I'm very excited, and I have to admit, I love so much this project that I'm a bit nervous to presenting it today in front of you. If my English not clear, because I'm nervous and I'm clearly not English native speaker, as maybe some of you in the room, please do write in the chat, and I will gladly repeat and slow down what I said. I would like now to propose a first warm-up activity, and I will ask you to close your eyes, or maybe interrupt the video for a bit if you feel more comfortable, and think about a special moment you had in Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting. Really, let's take a few minutes to think about what makes Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting so special. That mountaintop moment, something that maybe you will like to tell about a young leader that is about to start volunteering in your association at a local level, or a girl that's just joined. One of those moments, maybe it's at the end of a long training that you had with international friends. Maybe it's after a hike with your troop, and you're just around the campfire, sharing your learning, feeling connected. So if you think about that moment, what is that, felt special? What were the experience? Could you describe it in the chat, please?
These are all lovely. Can everybody see the chat to see what's coming up? Or would you like us to read some of them out? If anyone can't see the chat, let us know over your microphone and we can read some of these out for you. Thank you for sharing, those of you that have been able to do that in the chat. There's lots of common themes coming out from your experiences. And it's those sort of experiences that we want to engender on Campfire. We want Campfire to be not only a physical space online where we can connect our members without them having to travel physically by plane or boat or walking. However, we want it to be that digital home that enables everyone to feel connected, where MOs and individuals can share, and where we can help to really build that friendship across the movement. We can build that global sisterhood in a far more accessible way than we've been able to previously. It's a way where we can bring more members of our movement together. It will have an educational function. it will have a governance function, but it will also have a keeper of the flame function and really help us feel connected, particularly over the last 2 years when the world has been so closed down and so insular. A tool like a platform like Campfire can really help us build that sense of belonging and connection within our movement. So we have a short video now, a very short one, just to introduce Campfire to you all. So a very short teaser video there. But in general, here is what we want Campfire to do for our movement. We want it to be a place where associations can connect, where they can share good practice, whether that's through conversations or resources, toolkits, or volunteer experiences, so that they can learn from each other. That's us acting as a bridge, as member organisations have asked us to be across many, many years. It's also a place where WAG's staff and volunteers can network together, where they can learn together, and where we can access opportunities in a shared space. So when we talk about our WAG's global team, all of our staff members, our governance volunteers, and our operational volunteers who are working globally and regionally, it's a shared space that brings us together as that one global team. It's a space. Oh, do some strategic muting there. It's also a space that allows us to host some of our international and key leadership development events. So we have previously run a Helen Storrow seminar using Campfire as a platform for delivery. The Helen Storrow seminar is one of WAG's key leadership events themed around environmental leadership. And also the Juliet Lowe seminar, another one of our international leadership development opportunities for young women, will be happening through Campfire at the end of this year. And I know there's other opportunities to learn more about the Juliet Lowe seminar, or the JLS as we call it, that you'll find out about later. It gives us a really easy and accessible way to showcase blended learning across WAGs. So we can still run our in-person events that we love and we have that really emotional connection to. But at the same time, it allows us to really spread the impact and the accessibilities of the events, because we can have that blended approach and we can host people on Campfire on a similar programme as to the people who are meeting in the World Centre or anywhere in the world in their face-to-face event. And down the line also, it will be a place where leaders of girls can connect and have easy access to WAG's global programme resources. So although at the moment on Campfire, we only have selected groups of volunteers and member organisation key contacts, we aim to have a place where group leaders, troop leaders can come and connect, can gain inspiration and have access to resources as well. There are ways that member organisations can connect in, and we touch on that a bit later on as well. But these are sort of our overarching aims for what we would like Campfire to do. So Manny's going to take you on a tour of the platform.
Yes, we understand it's a bit abstract. So here how to make it less abstract. Campfire is quite new. It's a project that started last year and it was launched on March 11th, so only a few months ago. I want to take this moment also to thank the World Foundation and other corporate donors and thanks to their generous gift, what we've done so far has been possible. So here will be the home page, and as you can see, the home page is a place that wants to welcome everyone in WAGs. There is a space for volunteers, there is space for and most key contacts in the regional spaces. And what's very exciting about this factor is the accessibility in terms of languages. As you know, we are a global movement and we operate in 4 official languages. So all content on Campfire will little by little be translated in French, Arabic, and Spanish, or in English when it's created in one or the other 3 languages. As in manually translate, we have a group of volunteers helping a lot and really having a great impact on that. And for all the other languages, which are a lot, we have machine translation embedded into Campfire, which means that if I write a comment on a topic of my interest in Italian, because I don't feel confident maybe typing in English, Mel can read it in English, and someone else can maybe read it in Dutch, or any other languages, in the language of their choice. And if we think about representative of our member organizations coming from not English, Spanish, French, or Arabic speaking country into an event, that can make all our events much more accessible and learning much more accessible. As I was mentioning, it is quite new. We started with about 500 people after a pre-launch at a World Conference last year. And with this first launch a few months ago, we now have about just less than 800 members. Those of you who are member or will be, you can connect with each other. We are private messaging, and you can search based on where people are from or what their interests are, and many other things. Who are they? Right now, we have associations key contacts, meaning that in WAGs, when we want to contact national association and organizations, we have a list of contacts as in a mailing list. And these people are now on Campfire. Then we have certain volunteer group, as we are phasing the transition from our previous platform to Campfire to ensure that everyone has a pleasant experience. And we're piloting it now with commission volunteers and talking with other volunteers managing group of people, so that they can have their own space on Campfire if they want to. We have participants of some of WAG's initiatives, as Mel mentioned before. We have former Helen Storrow seminar participants. We have welcome volunteers for the Judith Law seminar already. And we are participants from the GLAC program. Mel will touch on it later on. And we have all WAG's members of the global team, all lead volunteers and members of staff. We will soon welcome leaders involved in global programs in their association, and even more people involved in youth learning and adult learning. I can clearly don't know how to go forward and back somehow on my slides. Here we go, Mel.
Okay. So we have this very growing number of people on Campfire as participants, but what actually can they use it for? And the answer is lots of things. We won't go through everything with you today, but we want to highlight some of the key ways that Campfire can be used by the people that come on to the platform. So to start with, every region, WAG's region, has a space. And in these regional spaces, you can look at all of them regardless of where you are in the world, but you'll find details about the regional committees. You'll find copies of conference documents. For example, we're in the run up to the regional conferences. You could go into each of those regional spaces and download the documentation, so you don't have to do lots of clicks elsewhere on the internet to try and find what you need. It's also a way where specific regional programs and initiatives can be hosted or showcased, and also we'll have places where member organisations can connect either by context, by language, by location, or by any other means by which they want to connect with each other. So each region has a space, they will have ownership of that space and will develop it to meet the needs of those particular regions. So although they will look similar in design, the content should vary to showcase the sort of differences that we have amongst our member organisations and within our regions. We also have our volunteer network, and this will be hosted on Campfire. I believe it is imminent, the move of the volunteer network, so those membership numbers will go up substantially very soon. But this is the space where any volunteer from an MO, or externally in some cases, who wants to volunteer with WAGs will find the information they need to be the best they can be in their role. This is where we'll house the courses about behaviours of volunteers, about the mission and values of WAGs, about the leadership model, about particular programmes and initiatives. And it's where we will build that sense of community. It's where we'll bring those, I think there's about 800 members of the network at the moment, Manuela. We'll bring those 800 volunteers into a space where it's much easier for them to connect and become involved in the work of WAGs, rather than just being an audience. We want to engage them into being a community, and Campfire will really help us to be able to do this. Courses are one way in which we can interact with people, and we currently have 22 available on the platform. Now, not all of these are publicly available. Some of them will be limited to participants who are involved in a specific topic or course, but we have some that are available to anyone. So whenever you're able to log in, at whichever stage of the process that comes, you'll be able to find out more about the core mission elements of WAG. So what we do in girl-led advocacy, what we do in the girl experience. You can find out more about the Helen Storrow and Juliet Lowe seminars. You can find out more about a Campfire and volunteering for WAGs as well. There's lots of other information on there. And more courses are being developed all of the time. And courses are a great way for us to really start reaching into that blended approach that we mentioned earlier on. So while we have face-to-face events happening around the world, by developing course content and supporting resources, we can really involve many more people in that experience by using these functions of Campfire. So as an example of one of these in particular, Manu mentioned it a few minutes ago, we've got GLAC, or GLAC for its, we do like acronyms. And this stands for Girl-Led Action on Climate Change, apologies, and it's currently happening in Latin America and the Caribbean, which is where the extra lac comes from the end. So we have a group of MOs involved in this project who are Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, Nicaragua and Panama. And they have courses and content on Campfire hosted in Spanish for them. And then we have Dominica, St. Lucia and Trinidad and Tobago also taking part, who have the same course content but available in English. So through the use of the platform, we've been able to work with MOs in the language of their choice, which has not always been easy for us to do so in such an accessible way before. Manu, did you want me to mention anything else about GLAC at this point, or was that?
No, I think what is really exciting in this specific project is that one way to run a project like this is to fly 6 trainers and bring together all representative of MO in one room, and that's amazing. Sometimes, for example, for this project, it will not be possible, just in terms of budget, visa restriction, ability of people to travel. That in this specific case, Campfire and the work of all the volunteers and members of staff that created the courses for this made possible something that otherwise wouldn't have happened in this way, as in training representative of member organization and then really impact the grassroots level, enabling girls to make a change in their community.
So we've got a testimonial now from one of our volunteers who's used Campfire. We won't read it out for you. We'll leave you to muse it on screen for a moment or two, and then Manuela's going to talk you through some of the resources you can currently find on the platform.
Here, so it's one step backward and two forward. Anyway, as Mel mentioned before, one feature of Campfire is the resource library. So it's a place where WAGs and member organization can share their resources, and that could be toolkits, articles, reports, good practices. You can again have it in the 4 languages or machine translated, and they're very, very easy to search for. They can also be shared in specific groups, which then makes them accessible only to members of those groups. And that's quite handy when we think about using Campfire to work together. And you know, sometimes we have resources that are only relevant for a certain group of people. But that's also very interesting that we can share these resources with people that do not have an account yet on Campfire. So there is a public facing page of the platform with the link to the resources. And if anyone's not want to make their resources available to the wider world, guiding or not guiding, that's also a place where those resources can be shared and found. I will say fairly easily. We now have plenty of groups, and that includes conference head delegates. So a group is a space where specific people can chat with each other, plan events to meet and have those events on Campfire. It's a place where they can share specific resources, as I was mentioning before. And so, for example, we have a group for core mission volunteers in which we share learning resources for them and also specific projects they can volunteer on linked to core mission. And we'll have groups for head delegates, and in which the governance team can share instructions or documentation, easily reaching out to head delegates of regional conferences. So there is one for each region. Or for example, the YES alumni program, Youth Exchange South-South, is using Campfire already. I think it's at least 8 months. It was just after the World Conference, to connect with each other and stay connected. And here we have another testimonial of Rosie from Nepal that has been using Campfire in the Helen Stowe seminar. And I'll leave it to Mel. Before that, if you have any question, please type them on.
So we've shown you where Campfire is now and where we've come from, but the really exciting part is what we want to do with it in the future. So as our immediate next steps, the aim for Campfire is that once we have migrated, we've moved the volunteer network across in the coming weeks, is we want to start to create some community spaces for communities of practice. So within Core Mission at the moment, we're starting on a big piece of work that will formally bring together educational program and adult development. So we would like to bring in some specialists, get people from member organisations who have particular expertise in those areas, talking and working together in a Campfire space so that we're sharing that best practice and we're capturing that knowledge that we need to be able to create and disseminate those high quality resources and information to member organisations. But we could have a community of practice around anything. My passion is leadership development and programs, so that's what I talk about. But we could have a communities of practice for finance and fundraising, for any of our capacity building areas really, or any other area of interest. There could be one around SAGNOs, coeducational Scout and Guide national organisations. We could have something around it could be anything, a particular element of Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting that shared a shared passion for a group of member organisations or a group of people. We will also have spaces for member organisations to have their own pages with an organisational profile and a way for them to showcase best practice that's happening in their organisation at the moment. You could also have a space there that could host get-togethers of your volunteers on the network from your member organisation, and there will be lots of other ways that the MOs, that member organisations, can interact with Campfire as we develop the platform. Some of those are longer term goals than more immediate, but it is a work that will happen. We also will have a volunteers board where this will streamline the volunteering process within WAGs and hopefully make many more opportunities accessible to many more young women, with a focus on our Motion 32 work and getting more young women into governance roles as well. The online Juliet Lowe seminar happens at the end of this year. There's a very large volunteer group involved with that, of facilitators and mentors and translators, and they will all be working and connecting through Campfire. And as Manuela mentioned previously as well, we want to, as well as the mechanical translation into the non-WAGs languages, we want to make sure that all of our key information is professionally and properly translated into all 4 languages of the homepage and of the other key areas on the platform. And we have a team of volunteers, mostly volunteers. Occasionally there's some outreach to professional interpreters and translators who will do that work for us. And also, and we'll talk about this more in a couple of slides time, because it's where you can help us really have an impact. We want to start building in processes that allow us to safely welcome more members to the platform. At the moment, as people sign up to Campfire, their registrations are all manually checked by Silvana or a member of her team, which, as you can imagine, with nearly 800 people on the platform, is quite a time consuming process. So we would like to build in ways that this could be done automatically, electronically, but clearly there are safeguarding procedures and around making sure that we only accept active members from member organisations, that the right people are coming onto the platform. And that's a particular area where we need funding support to help us develop that, so that we can really spread Campfire. We can fan that flame and we can make it spread, much, much wider than we are at the moment. So to show you how we are growing, we've got, it's not the most technical of charts, but it's a good graphical representation. From January of this year, we've gone from 600 to 800 members. Now, at the moment, we're still in a testing phase, really. We call Campfire our digital home for Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting, but as you may appreciate, when you're building a house, you've got to make sure the foundations are right first. You've got to make sure that the wiring's correct and safe before you start thinking about which curtains you're going to have and what colour you're going to paint the walls. So we're making sure that we've got that foundation, the actual structure right, And then as we start to think about the soft furnishings, we'll bring more and more people onto that platform so that they get a really, really good user experience. Because if they get that simple, good user experience, they're going to want to stay and connect with the platform. So it might seem that it's not very open at the moment, but it's because we're learning all of the time. All of us on the Campfire team are learning every day so much about what we can change, how we can make things less clicks to find, you know, what works well for volunteers and staff. But we are growing. We can't wait to welcome you all to the Campfire family along the way. And we're really looking forward to having your support so that we can keep this flame going and we can spread this campfire. You know, we can bring more people in to enjoy the warmth and enjoy the connection. So before we go on, I can't remember whether it's questions first or whether it's how you can help first. Are there any questions you have about the functionality of the platform now, before I then tell you again how we really need your help to make it grow?
We had a question actually earlier, Mel, from Karen Jones, and she's asking, will you share the link with us to get onto the Campfire platform?
So I will attempt an answer, and Manu, you can tell me off when I get it wrong. At the moment, we only have certain groups of volunteers and staff on Campfire because we're in this testing phase. So at the moment, if you're not a key contact, sort of a chief commissioner or an international commissioner in your member organisation, or if you're not associated with one of those leadership events like JLS, it's unlikely we'll be able to bring you on at the moment. If you're a member of the volunteer network, you will be coming across to Campfire in the next couple of months, so you don't have to wait too much longer. Manuela, what's the plan for bringing others on and opening the platform up further?
I think so. In general, we want to make sure that when people join, they join because there is some content and some community connection opportunities that are relevant to them. And that's also why we're phasing so much the work, because communities need facilitators, especially at the beginning, and especially when they're digital communities. And so little by little, we're building that. We are also waiting. We need to develop features, what Mel was saying before, to try to automatize a bit that who is who check, making sure that we have member of the communities here. Campfire is wax on, and we really need to make sure that whoever is on Campfire is a member of our member organization or has a very valid reason to be there.
Thanks, Manuel.
So Mel, this is Sandy. Another question was, does the MO still have to approve volunteers coming on to Campfire? So you might want to speak to that.
Yeah, so those, again, it depends why they're coming on to Campfire. So if they're coming on as a member of the volunteer network, that endorsement process still remains. So those members of the current volunteer network hosted on our existing platform, Mobilize, will be transferred across automatically because they're still endorsed. In the future, any new volunteers wishing to join the volunteer network will be endorsed in the same way for those 6 years, but they will, they'll just come onto Campfire instead of Mobilize. Is that correct, Manu?
Yes.
Yeah, so that still remains. There will be other people coming onto Campfire for specific events. So Helen Storrow participants, Juliet Lowe participants. They coming on as a participant won't mean they are then endorsed to the network. With the different roles we can give people on their Campfire profile, we can restrict who has access to which areas of the platform or who can see which content. So there are still ways to have that control in place.
And more specifically, volunteering opportunities are going to be visible to all, and only endorsed volunteers will be able to apply.
Okay, I'm going to jump in with another question. So Kat Harris is asking, is there a general news feed similar to Facebook where new things are posted and people can comment?
Yes. So there is nothing, you don't have like your wall in which things are scrolling, right? But you do have notification, and everyone can stop their notification features in a very granular way, meaning they can decide what they get notified about. For example, we have tags leadership. People can follow leadership and get and how they get notified and how frequently. And then there are topics that are open to comments, so people can comment and you can read what else everyone has commented, and others that are not open to comments.
Great, thanks, Manuela. There's a few more questions actually, so I'll run with the next one from Rishu Mananda. Do volunteers need MO endorsement to be part of Campfire?
If it is to volunteer, yes. Yes, they do. As before. And then as Mel was saying, if someone is on Campfire because they are an event participants or because they're international commissioner of their member organization, for example, or conference participants, they still need to be endorsed to be WACS volunteers to be able to apply.
Okay, and then we've had a question actually about Mobilize. So where does Mobilize fit into the picture? Are you thinking of phasing out Mobilize once Campfire is, fully in place?
Yeah.
Yes,
so,
we are.
Yeah. So as we bring across, we're doing it in a phased way. The core mission team left Mobilize and moved on to Campfire. We started that process 2 weeks ago. The volunteer network will be the next group to go across. And I don't know if we have a finish date for the end of Mobilize yet, but once we have transferred all the existing groups from Mobilize, we will stop our use of Mobilize completely. And primarily because Mobilize actually wasn't that accessible or easy to use for a number of our volunteers, whereas Campfire doesn't have the same challenges for those in certain areas of the world. So yes, eventually Mobilize will go.
Great.
To add to that, one of the things that is very exciting is that that's one place for almost everything, right? So that stakeholders that engage with WACS, there could be volunteers, there could be members of our members organization, leaders of girls, they don't need to use 5 different platforms to have access to the resources, the interaction, the online learning, or opportunities. It's all in one place.
Amazing. And actually, I did see Sarah raise her hand. So I think Sarah L has a question. Do you want to go for it?
We cannot hear you.
I think you might be on mute, Sarah.
And now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Hi, I'm Sarah. So I have 2 questions. First of all, how can we help you on building the platform? Because I think you're still building the platform. So if you need feedback or something, how can we help you as volunteer? And the second one, when can we start advertising for Campfire in our MOs?
There are many ways to help. I don't know if there is any other question, because that's literally leading to our next slide in the how can you help.
Well, I think it was slightly different. I think Sarah was asking what she can do to help as a volunteer rather than sort of necessarily funding at that stage. So certainly, if any of you are coming on as volunteers, then help us test the platform. Tell us what's working really well. Tell us what's missing, and tell us what isn't working well. We can't promise that we'll be able to fix all of the problems straight away, but we want this to be, a great experience for everyone.
My question is, in general, how can we help?
Okay, so that's one aspect then,
Yeah.
and we'll cover the aspect, the other bit about how we can make that happen in a moment. But you had a part 2 to your question, didn't you? Which I think I'll go back to Manu for.
Yeah, and that goes back to the help. In order to advertise, to make Campfire accessible and open for leaders of girls or people involved with specific WACS programs, we need to automatize that approval from member organization. So right now it's really manual. Right now, our internal stakeholders give us a list of people that have already registered for conference, for example, right? Or that are already WACS volunteers or are already MOK contacts. And based on the list, once the person creates the account of Campfire, Silvana unblocks them. So that is not going to be sustainable if all of a sudden we are going to have, 4,000 members joining at the same time because there is a new program that really want to learn how to use. For that to be sustainable, we need to be able to develop automatization in the way we link with our member organizations, so they can tell us, yes, these are our members. Yes, let them on Campfire. So that block, that building block needs to happen before you'll be able to advertise in your MO. But you can still advertise for being a member of the volunteer sector.
So to sum up then, and to reiterate what we've spoken about probably for the last 3 minutes, the primary thing we would really love and appreciate and be really grateful for your support with is money towards helping us automate this system of authentication of new users. Because if we can automate that process and take away the hours and hours and hours it would take for poor Silvana to approve potentially 1.2 million people to join our Campfire community, we are going to be able to roll this out a lot more quickly, a lot more effectively, and it would also give us time then to focus on the content and making it a quality experience rather than just getting people into the platform itself. That's a primary target for us, and it's the thing we really need to achieve before we can really get Campfire to flourish. So if you can spread the word about this, and if you can help us raise the funds to be able to embed the processes that automate that onboarding, you will really be making a huge difference to how quickly and to the number of people we can get onto this platform. And like any good community, it will work better the more people we have there interacting with each other. So it's a really important part of this project, and we would be so grateful for any of your help towards this. So we have a nice little QR code up on the screen there. Please scan it. When you scan it, it will open up your WhatsApp and automatically give you a message about Giving Day that you can share with all of your networks and your contacts, and hopefully help you spread the word very easily. But as Kelly has reminded me to say, and I nearly forgot, but I won't forget, you don't have to wait until Giving Day to give us your gift. You can make Manuela and myself and Kelly and everybody on the Campfire team by pressing that button now. And just to remind you that there is a match giving arrangement in place. So the first £60,000 of donations will be matched pound for pound. So just think, double the impact for just one click and one scan of a QR code. So I believe that they've been posting the Giving Day link in the chat box throughout today's session. But please do click on it. Please spread it. Choose global opportunities and international connections. Make your donation today, and you can help us bring Campfire to the wider movement, because I think it's fantastic. And thank you very much.
Sorry, Mel, they say that the QR code campaign has reached its scan limit, so you have to increase the amount of scans of the QR code.
Oh, Silvana, it's been more popular than you thought.
That's very exciting, and we'll do that right away.
Yes, right now.
Thanks, Sarah.
I've also just I've put the link to the platform in the chat box as well. So you have two options there to sort of make your gift early if you have felt inspired today by the amazing webinar about Campfire and what we're hoping to achieve with your help. And actually, before everybody leaves, I just wanted to remind everybody about next week's Giving Day webinar, which I didn't do in the last one, so apologies. So next week, we're having a webinar about the WAGS World Centres, and it's going to be a really fun webinar. So you'll be able to go on a journey and visit all of the WAGS World Centres to find out more about their plans and preparations to reopen. You'll also be able to hear from the young women whose lives have been transformed through the international experiences they offer. So I really do hope that you'll join us for next week's webinar. And what I'm going to do is just post the details in the chat box now, but I will be following up with the recording and more information about next week's webinar tomorrow with you all. So There's the link to join. And I just wondered, as we do have time, if there were just any final questions for our team. So anybody have any sort of final comments or questions that they'd like to put to the Campfire team?
Maybe one thing, as people think about questing, one thing that is really exciting is that the ripple effect, right? In the way as by making the connection between representative member organization easier and more flexible, accessible, member organization can share tools, can strengthen each other capacity, they can feel much more connected, and that has an impact on leaders of girls, and that has an impact of girls at the grassroots level.
And I also think those of you, because there are some of you on the call who have your Campfire access already, go and have a play, explore areas. It's very hard to break, so you don't have to worry about, deleting anything. Go and explore and then really share that with others, because as with everything, word of mouth is very powerful. So share with other volunteers, share with your connections, and that will help us get the momentum going with Campfire at the moment as well.
Okay, so I think if there's no more questions or final comments, we'll finish. And I just wanted to say thanks to Mel and Silvana and to Manuela for putting the webinar together. It was great to just see all the amazing work that you're doing on Campfire, and look forward to seeing everything that's going to happen in the next kind of coming months. So thank you, everybody. As I said, we've got the next webinar next week, so hope to see you all again very soon. And do check out the Giving Day platform as we've launched, and we're looking for ambassadors. We're looking for people to help us spread the word. So please do get involved, and hope to see you all again very soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you.